Taiwan. I'm Tiffany Wong with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Reservists are arriving for duty as Taiwan's military gears up for its largest annual military drills. This year's Kuang exercises will test the country's preparedness in the face of increasing tensions with China. Reporting for duty, these are just some of the record 22,000 reservists taking part in Taiwan's annual Kuang exercise. They're training to repel a possible Chinese invasion, and Taiwan's defense ministry is testing how quickly they can switch from civilian to military life.
也不是说什么心理准备啊，就是因为5年没叫着了，第一次叫着，就遇到旱。
心态上要不要适应时间？
需要1-2天就习惯了。
China claims Taiwan as part of its territory and has not ruled out the use of force to bring the country under control. In recent years, Chinese military activity around Taiwan has intensified, increasing the need for more dynamic training. That's why parts of this year's exercises will be unscripted, designed to make combat simulations more realistic. They'll also feature some of Taiwan's newest military tech, including the US-made HIMARS rocket system. Experts say pairing HIMARS with locally made rocket artillery like the Thunderbolt 2000 could help it counter China's much larger military.
Rating 2000可以进行面目标的打击，击中共企图登陆的船团以及舟坡。那海马式炮兵飞弹除了可以跨区支援之外，也可以进行精准的打击敌方的地面部队集结点或是港口。
This year's Kuang exercises are set to be the largest ever, and many of its reserve and active duty units will be put to the test when they begin on July 9th. Kama Shi and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus. Taiwan has issued a land warning as Typhoon Dalai approaches from the southwest. The Central Weather Administration has expanded its list of affected areas to include 18 counties and cities. Much of the country, including New Taipei, Taoyuan, and Hsinchu in the north, should expect heavy rain and strong winds. Typhoon Dalai is expected to continue moving northward, with its peak impact likely from Sunday afternoon through Monday morning. 15 children are among at least 50 people confirmed dead in flash floods in the U.S. state of Texas. Heavy rains caused Kerr County's Guadalupe River to rise nearly 9 meters, bursting its banks on Friday morning. Many people are still missing, and the death toll is expected to rise. Texas has declared a state of emergency. 27 girls from a nearby summer camp are among the missing. More than 850 people have been rescued so far, some pulled from trees and rooftops. Tibet's exiled spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, turned 90 on Sunday. His birthday comes as tensions ramp up between Beijing and one of the world's most influential religious figures on how his successor will be chosen. Our reporter Issy Wells looked back on his life ahead of his birthday.
'90th birthday celebrations for the Dalai Lama started early here in Dharamshala in northern India. Particularly significant this year as the Tibetan spiritual leader brings an update about his succession. But as thousands come together to commemorate another year of the Dalai Lama's life, it marks one more year away from his homeland, Tibet. Born Lama Tondup in 1935 to a family of farmers, he was just 2 years old when he was recognized as the 14th reincarnation of the Dalai Lama, the highest spiritual leader in Tibetan Buddhism, by a Tibetan government search party. In 1940, he was enthroned here in the Potala Palace in Tibet's capital Lhasa and renamed Tenzin Gyatso. But a decade later in 1950, China's new leaders, the Chinese Communist Party, invaded and annexed Tibet, proving an immense political challenge for the 15-year-old. After protests to the international community and initially seeking refuge on the Tibetan-Indian border, the Dalai Lama returned to Lhasa a year later, with Beijing promising Tibet could have regional autonomy and that the Dalai Lama could control internal affairs. He would go on to meet with the founder of the People's Republic of China, Mao Zedong, and the most senior communist leaders. But Chinese treatment of Tibetans deteriorated, and after almost a decade of tensions and fears over the Dalai Lama's safety, a full-scale uprising broke out in 1959, which was violently suppressed. The Dalai Lama was forced to flee, disguised as a soldier. making his way across the border to India, where he was granted asylum. Ever since then, he's lived in this Himalayan town, where he established a government in exile and has dedicated his life to advocating for Tibet and his people. On that journey, he's become one of the world's most recognizable figures, meeting with presidents and religious leaders around the world. And becoming an icon for compassion and peace, receiving the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. But his influence and popularity have long been a thorn in the side for Beijing. The Chinese government accuses the Dalai Lama of being a separatist, and previous visits to Taiwan have particularly been met with an angry response. Beijing continues to demand the Dalai Lama recognize Tibet and Taiwan as integral parts of China if he ever wishes to return, as well as pressuring international leaders to give him the cold shoulder.
中方反对任何国家政府借涉当问题干涉中国内政，反对任何国家领导人以任何形式会见达赖。
And this pressure from China is forcing the Tibetan Buddhist community to accelerate the timeline of traditions, as the question looms of who will succeed the Dalai Lama after his death, a matter where Beijing claims to hold authority.
Generally, while a Lama is still alive, there won't be any talk about his reincarnation. That talk only comes when that Lama passes away. But in this time, the discussion is coming mainly because the Chinese government is interfering in the reincarnation of His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
The Dalai Lama has previously said his successor will be born outside of China, but there has also been speculation as to whether the lineage would continue. And on Wednesday, he put the rumors to bed, confirming that he will indeed have a successor. The Dalai Lama says that his office, the Gadem Phodrang Trust, has the sole authority to recognize his future reincarnation. But as many Tibetans fear, China continues to reject this, holding on to an imperial-era selection ritual.
达赖喇嘛的转世必须坚持国内寻访、金瓶撤迁、中央政府批准的原则。
As Beijing seeks to tighten its grip on religious practices within its borders, Tibetans around the world fear a successor chosen not by faith, but by force. And as the Dalai Lama nears 90, so too does a turning point, not just for his faith, but the identity and autonomy of an entire people. Xiaoliuqiu and Izzy Wells for TaiwanPlus.
Birthday celebrations for the Dalai Lama are underway now in India. Indigenous communities in eastern Taiwan are using their traditional gardening techniques to preserve local biodiversity. Xiaoliuqiu reports.
In remote parts of Hualien in eastern Taiwan, indigenous Bunong communities are keeping a special tradition alive, called Pisan Lavan, or family garden. It's a form of home gardening that helps preserve rare and diverse bean varieties.
从小就是有吃，尤其是我们煮小米的时候啊，还是要做什么，这个豆类一定都有。
In Pisan Lavan, some beans are grown along the edges of farmlands, while others are planted near homes. In 2014, when the Cixing Organic Agriculture Foundation began helping farmers switch to organic practices, they unexpectedly uncovered over 20 rare and ancient bean varieties thriving in these backyard gardens.
这么久以前的种子，然后一代一代一直还有人在种，然后持续的更新它的活性，然后让它在土壤里面生存，记忆每一天的太阳，每一天的雨。
To keep the knowledge of how to grow these beans, they set up the Bunong Bean Group, aiming to pass down the community's agricultural wisdom. Conservation takes place directly in the fields, with replanting every year, but modernization is threatening their efforts.
年轻人现在有的都是还在外面工作，就是怕说他们不肯做啊，不肯种这些啊，这个一定要种才有成果啊，你没有种下去，它怎么会有？
Members of the Bunong Bean Group remain hopeful that their agricultural know-how and traditions can be handed down to younger generations. Much like the beans they cultivate, the tradition will take root in everyday life, flourishing for years to come. Alex Chen and Xiaoliuqiu for TaiwanPlus.
On one of Taiwan's outlying islands, the land crab breeding season is in full swing. Locals have been working together to help the crabs reach their seaside breeding grounds safely. A team from TaiwanPlus visited the island to learn more.
Xiaoliuqiu, a small island off the southwestern coast of Taiwan, is known for its abundant sea turtles, clear waters, and vibrant coral reefs. But when night falls in the summer, the island comes alive in a different way, with some interesting creatures crawling into view.
来，这只母的，对啊，这个叫入蟹啊，这个还算中的啊，来。
The tiny island is just 6.8 square kilometers, but is home to about 20 species of land crabs, with the most numerous being the purple land crab. Their breeding season starts with the rainy season. From June to October, during the last quarter of the moon, female crabs head to the shore to release their eggs, sometimes even from coral rocks. A crab expert says these creatures help connect life on land and in the sea.
它其实最主要的食物其实是植物的枯枝落叶，它是能够分解纤维素的，所以它基本上它确实是有扮演分解者的角色，所以在有陆蟹生存的生态体系，它的物质循环是非常快的，但是有陆蟹存在，养分循环会加快，那就会让这个生态体系是生产力非常高生产力的一个生态体系。
But their nighttime journey to and from the seaside is fraught with danger.
超过1万只的后代就这样没了。
Since May, local volunteers have been raising awareness about crabs on the roads at night.
会有螃蟹，要帮忙放。
今天怎么这么多啊？画到我的粉笔都快没了。
These volunteers patrol the island's ring road and share their passion for land crabs with visitors.
他只有在小时候住在海里，然后长大就到陆地上来了。
哦，是哦。那他知道路吗？
哦，当然知道啊。
我是说小 baby 哎。
当然知道啊。
他长大知道路上去。
通常会跟着水走。
哦。
Part of the volunteers' efforts is counting how many crabs get hit on the road. In June alone, over 800 crabs were killed.
它这个都有抱卵的呢。
During the crab breeding season, Wong, a native of Xiaoliuqiu, spends 1 to 2 hours every morning conducting roadkill surveys around the island.
对螃蟹非常有感情啊！看到它们被压死的时候，我就会想说它很可怜，我能够用我什么样的方法可以帮助它？那另外一种心情的话是开心的，因为Xiaoliuqiu呢岛上呢还有这么多的陆蟹资源可以让你压死。
Volunteers spread the word by putting up signs and handing out crab stickers to local shops. This year, a crab corridor was built to help land crabs across the road safely. The locals hope to take it a step further by closing one section of the road to protect the crabs, and they've received support from the government.
我们真的就是需要把Xiaoliuqiu现存的好的栖地环境，我想。 不只是陆蟹的栖地环境啊，就是各种海洋生物的栖地环境都把它保育下来，各种生物都活得很好。我想Xiaoliuqiu的观光发展未来才会更好。
Protecting land crabs isn't just about saving one species. It's about preserving a key component of the local ecosystem and creating a better environment for everyone. Pichi Zhuang and Sanny Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, you can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media. Finally, check out this footage of waves from Typhoon Dalai battering Xiaoliuqiu. I'm Tiffany Wong. Take care and see you next time.